All right, now that you know how to make these nice big blocks, we're going to put those aside for a moment and we're going to learn how to put your initials on these blocks so it looks like they go back in perspective. Okay, but this can go aside for a moment. You will find this page of letters on a Google slide. Okay, you don't have a copy of this, at least not at home. If we were in school, you would have a copy of this, but you don't have one at home because you can put one right on your computer screen. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to explain how you can make any letter you want to, make it nice and almost computer made, practically nice block letter. Kind of a little bit different style than the block letter we did a long time ago on your for the very first assignment in block letters in Art 1. And you can see these little bars that go across, these shaded in bars. That's a big deal to kind of understand, and we're going to do it on a piece of scratch paper here just to practice. And I'll show you how to make a couple different letters, but a lot of letters have very similar kinds of attributes. And if you notice, they are all capital letters as well, so we're only going to do capital letters. So this box, first of all, the outside of it, boy, if you have Post-it notes, that's perfect. That's a really good size. They don't have to be quite that big, but that's going to be kind of similar in size to some of your blocks. So that would be a good idea to have that. Also, if it wasn't quite a whole box, that's okay too. If I wanted to make more of a slight rectangle, or if you have anything at home that is kind of the size of some Post-it notes. Now I don't have to go around the whole thing. Okay, I could put another line right there to like this one up here to make it a rectangle, but it's important to have that outside first. Check this out. Most cell phones are about the same size as Post-it notes, roughly. You can totally just draw 2 lines across the bottom of your cell phone, turn the paper or turn your cell phone, kind of square it up, and just draw 2 more lines at the edge of your cell phone. Perfect. That's all you need. Okay, and it's a good idea to have several of these like I have here. So what we're going to do, and here's the basic premise of this whole thing. Remember I talked about bars. It's very much like having 3 bars that go vertically, okay, and 3 bars that go horizontally. So you have to think like that. Okay, but we're going to draw it instead. So we're going to have, and you can use a ruler for this if you want to. I'm not going to, just for speed. So we're going to have a bar that goes across there. And on this page, these don't have to have perfect ruler lines like you will on your final. So if you needed to make, let's say, the letter N, all you would have to do is connect this point down to this corner. I'll do it kind of softly. Hopefully you can see that. And I'll connect this corner down to where that line is. So you can see the N right there. Piece of cake, right? So, let me show you this. And I'll show several letters kind of overlapping each other. Now let's say you wanted to make the letter M for Mary. All you have to do is the same thing in the other direction. Look at that, I made an X. If one of your initials is an X, that's fine. That's how you make an X. And as long as you erase the bottom half of an X, look what happens. There is a really nice looking even M. Okay? That's how you start to build these letters. Okay, let's say you need to make the letter C. I'm going to, again, make my blocks. And if you notice, the outside of the letter is the box. Okay, don't try to make your letter float in the middle of this box. All of the letters, the top and bottom, the right and left edge of the box is going to be the right and bottom and left edge of the box. Look at that. There's a block C, right? But we're going to make it look a little better. Look at that. There's a block O. Now, for a C, you can see it right here. All we have to do is go from this, where this line ends, and where that line ends. And again, you guys, if you like using a ruler for this, you can, but you are going to use a ruler when we do it on your final. Here we're just learning the process. All right, so we go there. I'm making these marks to show you where I'm going to be rounding off these curves. So letters that have a rounded curve, you have landmarks. There's that line right there. We could just go a straight line, but I think it looks a little better if we curve it. And we're going to go right, curve it from there, and let it blend right in there. We also need a matching curve on the inside, and it's smaller. Then for a C, we're just going to do all four corners. There's an O, right? That's how you would make an O. For a C, we just have to chop out the center part right there. Look at that. There's a C. Okay, now if you wanted to make a Q, you could just make that O once again and just draw a rectangle that's about the same thickness as the rest of it. That's all you need for a Q. Look at that. Easy, easy. Okay, now let's make a letter that needs the center. Let's make an A. Okay, so we still need this outside bar because we have to see where the bottom of the A goes. But now, if we were going to make, let's say, like a letter T, we would need that center. Yes, right? And if we made a T, all you have to do is make the center bar and the top bar. Okay, but we're making an A. So what we do is just like we kind of did on the M, but now we're going to go from, and I'm going to point out where my landmarks are first. See, those two dots are going to touch these two dots. So again, with a straight edge or a ruler, you can do this if you want them to look even better. These two marks are going to come down and hit those two landmarks. Okay, it's really kind of simple if you get used to where your little landmarks are. So there's the peak of your A. Now the crossbar that goes across, we just have to make that go right about through the center, and we try to make it the same width. Okay. And again, you can use a straight edge. Hopefully you can see that A in there, but it really turns into an A, and all these letters come more to life after you erase all the extra stuff that you did lightly and erase the stuff inside the letters. And eventually you will erase the box that it's fitting into, so you can still kind of see my guidelines, and I'll darken the A here. Now, I might make one or two more letters. Oh, I have to make an S. That's always the one that's the trickiest. And then I will help in class make some other letters. So there's a nice looking A right there. All right, so let's make an S. See, it has a lot of stuff going on, lots of curves and things. All right, so, and we need the back of an S. And a really good idea with any of these letters is make your letter look like a block letter, just as a side note. Okay, so we need the back of the S. We need the front of the S. We need the top of the S. So again, the top of this box is the top of the S. Don't draw another top to it. We need a bottom part of the S, and we need, there's a center part going right through the middle. So now picture where that S is. It's going to come back here. It's going to snake around and come back up. Okay, so I'm going to, if I want to draw just like on a C, see that little curve coming down? I can draw that line right here, because that's where the S starts, and I can make it come up over here. All right, now we have our landmarks that we can curve to, and this one curves on the inside. We have our landmarks right there that we can curve to, and on the inside. Now we have this curve that wraps toward the middle of the S. It's going to follow along and have that curve. We have our two landmarks. See, there's a consistency. We have this curve. We have our two landmarks right there that we can curve. You're starting to see the S. We have those two landmarks. Now, we can just kind of outline that S. We can get rid of all of our extra stuff that we don't need anymore, that you kind of did lightly. And I'll just barely do it here for speed. And there, you can see the S. Okay? Now, I want you to make your letters. If you don't know how to do them here, it's going to be very difficult to do them on here, because on here we're going to use our perspective lines or orthogonal lines or parallel lines to make your letters happen on these cubes. So it's going to look like your letters are rotating. Okay? Instead of just doing that, they're going to be doing that and that. All right, I'll help you more in class.